Dr. Kalani. So it's Tuesday evening, and here I am working on plans on how to perform these surgeries. These are patients who have arrived all day yesterday and today from all over the world, different complications of radial keratotomy, keratoconus extremes, LASIK complications, cataract complications themselves, corneal scars, very high regular astigmatisms. So let's look at some of them. These are a few of all the cases I've seen yesterday and today. I wanted to share that with you all and explain the concept of lensoplastic. All of these patients have actually come in for cataract surgery, all right? But why is this so difficult for me, I was asked today. The difficulty is not just because of their presentations where they've had multiple complications of different surgeries elsewhere, but it's because I want to give them so much more. That's what makes my work very difficult. So I cannot stop planning for them, designing the surgery, and then I still have to perform the surgery flawlessly. If I make one mistake in surgery, all this planning means nothing. So here's the patient. You can see this patient has arrived from California, and the patient has a 26.12 diopter of astigmatism. What lens is made for this patient? None. And yet we will take this patient to vision, and that's the important thing here. If you see the anatomy of these patients, this patient has 16 diopters of irregular astigmatism, radial keratotomy cuts. This again points to what I say. Even though I've done patients with 44 cut RK cataracts, here's a patient with 8 cuts, but see the way the cuts are done with the astigmatic cut. 16 diopter irregular astigmatism. The whole cornea is like ectasia. I have to do cataract through that. Here's another patient, as you can see here. This patient has 6.6 diopters of astigmatism, but look at the cornea. Just 300 micron, extreme scarring from bad LASIK and RK, as you can see here. Look at this cornea. Nothing is measurable. In fact, none of my machines could measure a lens power. None of my Oil Masters 7, 5, A scans, all the technologies we have, none of them could measure anything. No keratometry, nothing. And we have to go over here, look at this keratometry, measurements, axial lens, all the different technologies I carry, eye trace and all these things. Sit down tonight and start planning and thinking and use over 3 decades of experience to decide what lens, what optics to use. So that's this case over here. You can see these patients, how the cornea looks broken. This patient from New Mexico, again, over 12.2 to 14 diopter irregular astigmatism. Here's a patient, again, you can see 13.2 diopter irregular astigmatism, 13.2. I have to do cataract through this cornea with 12 incisional cataracts with central scarring, you can see here, and somehow bring this patient to vision. Here's another patient, you can see 21 diopters of irregular astigmatism, 21 diopters irregular astigmatism. Central corneal scarring, very irregular cornea. Again, no parameters to go by. And I have to understand what is the keratometry, axial length, corneal situation to come up with a lens power that is close enough to work with. Right? Here's a patient with extreme keratoconus corneal scars. You can see here. She has 90 diopters of keratometry, 90. Cornea is less than 200 micron, central scarring, and over 20 diopters of irregular astigmatism. I'll show you this patient's topography. 20 diopters irregular astigmatism. In fact, here this is 20.4 diopters irregular astigmatism, if you can see here. Right? Cornea thinness 80 microns, you can see here. Complete scarring, extreme keratoconus. You can see keratometry is 87.8. What lens would you use here, doctor? Again, that's the whole point. There is no single lens that works on all these cases. There is no one lens that works on all these patients. There cannot be any hype on lens technology. There are over 34 lens options in the US, over 80 options internationally. It's intense work to plan what lens to do, but the lens is just an ingredient. First, I have to perform surgery through these patients' eyes, and that surgery has to be flawless. If I make one mistake, here you are with these cases. If I make one mistake going through these 28 cut RK, any mistake, all this planning means nothing. Because remember, the patient just is going to do this after surgery. What am I seeing? When they go back to their eye surgeons and eye doctors all over the world, when I let them go back, the only parameter they have to look at, what Dr. Gulani did, is vision. What the patients and doctors need to understand is I have to get through these eyes, go through these eyes, perform the surgery without stitches, with an elegant experience for the patient in minutes. I love to treat them like family and then land on vision through that. So it's not just what lens. Lens is a small ingredient and important, but one ingredient in the recipe that I have to go through Tonight, that's what I'm spending hours on. This is what the basis of lensoplasty is. Look at this patient. This patient from New Mexico. Look at this eye. Look at the cuts. Look at the level of elevation, ectasia of the cornea. 13.2, we just saw the topography. I have to perform surgery through this cornea. Understand what optics to bring. Look at this patient from the West Coast again. Right here. Look at this astigmatic cut that is causing over 12 diopters regular astigmatism. No measurements. No measurements to know what lens to use. So very, very important, all these concepts. You can see this cornea, central scarring, extreme keratoconus, and how we have to go through that. So when you look at all these cases, it should become very clear what I'm trying to teach with regular patients we do at our institute every day. But to me, it's intense because, one, I want to share with our colleagues that this is possible. There is no need for transplant in these patients, no matter how complex they are. 20 diopter astigmatism, 26 diopters we saw. Patients from all over the planet. They've seen some of the most brilliant colleagues of ours. They've had multiple failed surgeries. And I don't want to give them just hope. I actually want to fight for them. It's intense. So the difficulty level is not just the anatomy. The difficulty level is how much I want to give them. And very important point I'm trying to stress again. There is no one lens that can fix any of this, and there is no lens that will take these patients to vision. But the lens calculation based on corneoplastic principles, where I cancel the anatomical impact of their complicated corneas, whether it's from LASIK, RK, keratoconus, corneal scar, whatever. So canceling the anatomical complication with optical manipulation through the lens and performing the cataract surgery through this eyes is what lensoplasty is. All right? In between all that, I want that experience to be excellent, painless for the patient. So these are all these things that make it extremely difficult for me, but patients deserve it. All of these patients. So here I am again, a few more hours tonight, planning, rechecking everything, sitting down, coming up with the values and stuff, and then I have to perform the surgery. So, Dr. Kalani, always here for any questions you have, kalanivision.com, or go to our YouTube channel. Patients from all over the world with no incentive are there, thousands of them, talking about their experience, and I'm always here for you with any questions. Good night.